Are you just trying to save the Earth? Are you scared that humankind is going to be trapped on this planet?
Big time.
Have you never heard of the problem of space trash? This is the podcast for you. Today we are going to solve all of Earth's problems, well, at least the space trash problem. Welcome, triers, doers, and everything in betweeners. We have a special podcast, number 6 of Just Trying to Podcast. I'm joined by I'm your co-host, Mike Tony Heath, and my co-host this evening is Kyle Oltekin, aka Chuck Wagon, aka Chuck, aka Jimmy Chuckles from Jimmy Chuckles and the Fire Ants.
That's a lot of nicknames.
We once jumped into a frozen lake together.
Oh yeah.
We've traveled all over the continental U.S. and parts of Europe, and we have a band called Jimmy Chuckles and the Fire Ants. Chuck, any way you want to introduce yourself? Anything you want to say?
You nailed it. I have 2 cats.
You have 2 cats. What are your cats' names?
Well, I have one cat named Pie. She's right here. Say hello, Pie.
Hey, Pie.
And Pig's over there. I have a wife. Her name's Lucy. She wanted to know if the cats were going to make the podcast, so they did. Shout out, Lucy. They made it. Lucy's an honorary fire ant, but I think she's kind of begrudgingly a fire ant. I don't know how much she's into it, but she's kind of into it. She's like a behind the scenes fire, so she's stoked to be a fire ant. She just doesn't want to be in front of the camera ever. So what else about me? Big Chiefs fan. Go Chiefs, baby. Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Where are you joining us from this evening?
Illinois. Bloomington,
Illinois,
guys.
And have you ever been on a podcast before? Is this your first podcast?
It's my first live podcast, yes.
Okay, you've been on what other podcasts have people maybe seen you on or heard you on?
Does YouTube count?
Yeah, YouTube counts.
Nice. Well, on shoot, man, what was it? I don't even know what it's called, honestly. It's something to do with ISU, and they were interviewing RSOs. So I was on this ISU podcast, Illinois State University. For all of you people that aren't fancy with it, I don't think it was like a legit ISU one though. I don't think it was like Illinois.
It wasn't associated with university.
Well, yeah. I think it was, but like not officially. It's kind of like
unofficial.
Yeah, unofficially, officially. So that's kind of what I do.
Okay, just as we're getting going here, as you may have seen from the title of this podcast episode, we are just trying to save Earth. Jimmy Chuckles and the Fire Ants. Chuck, could you tell the audience how we're trying to save Earth?
Yes, I can. So, well, this kind of started, so Mike and I, we were in the desert I don't even remember when that was.
About a year ago, I think.
About a year ago, or right at a year ago, Mike and I, we were out in the desert. So Mike and I, we were out in the desert, and we were just staring at the stars, and we were just kind of seeing all these things like moving around, and we're like, man, is that a plane, or is that some kind of like unidentified what's it, aircraft phenomenon or something?
A UAP.
UAP. And then Mike told me that he heard on Joe Rogan's podcast. I think, is that like a famous podcaster, like almost as famous as you, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're like pretty much. I mean, I think he's number 1. I'm like number 2.
Okay. So, anyways, he heard that, like, oh man, a lot of people leave their crap out in space, like after they fly space mission, and so they just leave stuff out there, and so we are just trying to bring awareness that this is a very serious topic, that people don't understand, that we just are leaving our trash in space, and it is clogging up the atmosphere. So who knows if we are even going to be able to leave our planet, or if let's say an alien life form was here, they might not be able to get off or to get onto the planet. So we really need to figure out how we can clean up our atmosphere of metallic objects.
Are you going to be helping us write our song? What's it called? Space. We're just going to call it Space Trash, right?
Yeah.
We're just going to call it Space Trash. But before we get into our first guest host, who we're about to introduce, we do have a couple comments from you, the audience, that we want to read. So this is coming from Trevor Thorlickson, I believe from the great state of Missouri. He says, "Love the video. Keep it up, Mr. Mike Tony Heath." Thank you, Trevor, for listening to
What
the
was his last
podcast
name?
and the encouragement. Thorlickson. Yeah, like Thor, the superhero, lick a son. Thorlickson.
This guy can't be real. There's no way that's somebody's real name.
Thor. Well, I guess it's not like lick a son. It's like licking sin. So Thor licking sin is that guy's name. Thor licks.
This guy's got to be fake.
And then we also have another comment from Zach Becker. The Becker clan, mostly Zach, would like to apologize for encouraging Mike to denigrate himself. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right.
Yeah, you did.
And feel like a garbage podcaster. On the flip side, I now get to live in your head rent-free. Yes, you do. I am just so insecure whenever I talk publicly now that I'm just doing filler words. But you're helping become a better podcaster. So I do appreciate the comments. Like we always say, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell to stay in the loop on all things. And then comment. Give us your comments. We read through those every week. And you may even get yours read here on the podcast. But we're getting into just trying to save the earth. And our first guest tonight, coming all the way from the great state of Indiana, he went to the Harvard of the Midwest, Ball State. The three of us actually once spent a couple months sleeping together. Well, we weren't sleeping together. We were sleeping in a hotel room together.
Holy crap, what kind of podcast is
sharing 2
this?
beds. And we had 4 grown men, 2 beds, in 1 hotel room. Everybody, give it up for our first guest host of the night, Christopher Glotzback.
Yeah, round of applause.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Christopher. How's it going tonight? Are you doing well?
I'm doing really well. Hey, this is such an honor, and I don't really know what to expect. I just got done with a coming out of a men's small group, and it was really intense. So I'm gonna try my best to be emotionally available for you guys tonight as we try to save the planet together.
Thank you. Just doing your part.
Yeah, you're just one of the in-betweeners, man.
Yeah, you're one of the in-betweeners. We have a question to get things started off just about your experience with space trash. Is who do you think produces the most space trash?
It's a really good question. As in, like, what country? What state?
It could be a company. It could be a country. It could be a state of the United States. Just, if you were to guess who produces the most space trash, who do you think it is?
I would have to say Walmart.
Walmart.
My wife worked there for a stint. She doesn't like to share that with people, but she told me some insider trading happened, and they have a deal to send space trash.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. She doesn't work for them anymore.
So Walmart.
Can you explain to me this deal? Like, would they have a deal that just sends space trash?
Yeah, I don't want to get into a ton of the details because I don't want my wife to be, put at risk. But just trust me. Okay. Just trust me.
So this is really good.
Believe women, dude. It's 2023.
We want to respect your wife's privacy, but I think this is really important because the world is uneducated on this issue. Is that this is serious? We're going to be trapped here on Earth. Issue. So we need to figure out, is Walmart to blame, or is that just a wives' tale? So let's say in this scenario, whoever it is, but let's say in this scenario, Walmart is responsible for producing the most space trash. Who do you think should be responsible for cleaning it up?
It's a really great question, Mike. And yeah, I think you're asking the right questions. It starts with we the people.
We the people.
To ask these questions, the hard questions. We have to raise awareness, and I think that you and Jimmy Chuckles and the Fire Ants are going out of their way, really humbling yourself to talk about an issue that could get you guys in a lot of trouble. So I appreciate that.
Just for clarity's sake, who is going to come after us? I just want to know who I need to be looking out for.
Who is going to come after it? Chuck didn't realize the situation.
Yeah,
he himself in.
That guy was just like, "Yeah, I'm down for this song," and I didn't realize that. I was going to have people coming after me.
Well, Chuck, I don't know about you, but for me, I take my trash to the curb and a dump truck takes it. That would put me at a tier that I'm not very powerful. But people who are sending their trash to space are much more powerful than us. And so those are the types of people who you're going to irritate, frustrate, make upset, who are going to be coming after you guys. So I would just tread lightly.
Okay.
Yeah, you're bringing up great
like
points. Is that the people who do produce space trash are people who have the most power and wealth in our world. That's a great point, Christopher. I think that's something I really hadn't considered before, honestly. And I feel pretty well versed in the issue.
I mean, absolutely. It's something that we often can forget about.
Yeah.
Because we've been conditioned to forget about it.
Right.
But once we engage with it, it's such a huge issue for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Christopher, I have one last question for you. Unless, Chuck, do you have a question you want to hit him with? Pepper with him with?
I think he's on the toilet right now. He probably shouldn't ask.
No, I am not on the toilet, but I appreciate you just looking out for me. I have accidentally joined like a Zoom call from the toilet, and I didn't have my camera off, so that is a distinct possibility.
It's the most Chuck thing ever.
Because I know that you really like idolize this person, and I know that he has like a big what do you call it, like when you're going to do something really big, like milestone. That's what I'm looking for. He's got a big milestone coming up. Do you think that LeBron James is a part of the problem or a part of the solution?
Yeah, I think that's a really great question, Chuck. And, you know, I think one thing that I appreciate about LeBron James is he came out with a movie in 2020 by the name of Space Jam. And I think something behind that movie was to bring awareness to the things that we're putting up into space. And his hope by bringing awareness is to actually help eliminate the trash that we put up into space. And so actually, I think LeBron, and there are a few others in celebrity culture that are trying to end the space trash pandemic that we found ourselves into. So yeah, and shout out LeBron.
So really, LeBron is like kind of doing the most to like help.
Well, I wouldn't say that he's doing,
but he's not doing the least.
But I think he's not doing the least.
Would you say he's doing as much as us doing this?
How much money have you invested in it so far?
Chuck, do you have the receipts? Chuck is our receipts guy, so he knows the most.
Yeah, that's problem number one, that I'm our receipts guy.
I would say that you guys are probably doing a little bit more than LeBron.
Okay,
honestly.
That's good to know.
We're doing a little bit more than LeBron.
Chris, would you say that that Elon is to blame as well?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm from Indiana, you know, so I'm probably not as cultured as y'all. from Illinois and St. Louis, Washington. Washington. I don't know how you guys pronounce it, but I don't know what this Tesla thing is, but I am a little leery of it, and I think that Elon is up to something, and I don't want to speculate. I don't want to speak too much into it, but I think that there's something going on with Elon.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, he is running SpaceX, and I feel like he has like a lot of satellites up there right now. With what's that internet provider thing he's doing? Neuralink. No, that's like the brain interface. Starlink. Starlink, where he's like has all the satellites to give people like free Wi-Fi. Have you guys heard about this?
No. St. Louis, Washington must be intense if they got Starlink.
I did see Starlink going over. I thought it was a UAP.
But once you start talking about these types of things, you're going to see weird things happening. So I just want you guys to be careful.
Okay, yeah, that's it. Okay, so that's good. That almost like as we're writing this song, we need to warn people. If you become educated on this and you begin to discuss it in everyday conversations, you need to be prepared for any possible consequences. Looks like we got Billybob coming on. And,
oh yeah.
Hey Billybob.
Oh yeah.
Welcome to the party. We just have one last question for Christopher, and he's got to get to bed, I think.
That's past my bedtime.
But hang out while we ask Christopher the final question, and then you can actually think about this too, Billybob, because we would love to hear your thoughts on it. Okay, so have you guys seen the film Interstellar?
Oh yes, it's Bill's favorite movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so the big problem with space trash is that we're going to be stuck here on Earth because there's going to be too much trash circling the Earth. So let's say the interstellar situation comes to fruition, and there's so much space trash going around Earth where it's like we have another planet we can go to, but now it's like risky to get out of there. What is the success rate? Like the lowest threshold of success. I'm trying to form this question. It's like what's like the lowest threshold of success? Like they said, like you have a 50% chance of making it out of Earth alive. Like you're in a spaceship going up through the orbiting space.
This is the longest question
I've ever heard.
I feel like I'm getting interrogated and I'm about to incriminate
so like
myself.
all of the trash circling Earth, they say like it's gonna be like 50%, like 25. Like what's the lowest success rate or like likelihood of making it out of Earth successfully in a in a spaceship that you'd be like, sign me up? Because like if you stay on Earth, like you're gonna die, right? But like you have a good idea, like it's gonna be like 5 more years, 10 more years before you die. But if you go up, you've only got like a 25, 33% chance of survival. Like what's the lowest threshold that you would say, if it's any lower than this, I'm gonna just stay and die on Earth. But if it's like this or above, I'm gonna take my chances and try to go to like Planet X.
Yeah. That's a really great question, Mike. It made a lot of sense. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I would say I'm not 100% sure that I know what you're asking, but I think that if it is over 1%, there's a 1% chance that I make it out alive, I'm going, because I've done a lot worse for a lot less.
Okay. That's so good. Thank you so much, Christopher.
One thing that I just want to say before I hop
Thank
off here and give the table to Billybob. Again, thank you so much. This is such an honor to try to bring awareness to space trash. I want you just to consider, I don't know if this is true, what the X in SpaceX stands for, and just could it be trash?
Oh, that's a really good point.
I was kind of wondering earlier what X was. I didn't suspect trash, but that's good. Chris left us with that one. Mike, I'm just wondering, before we hop on or before we start asking questions to Billybob here, could you explain to our listeners what space trash is? Like what makes up space trash?
Oh,
Like what are some of the main pieces of space trash? Like
yeah, this
what
this
is
this might even help Billybob with in his interview as well. So I'm glad you're listening to this. Is so really, there's like typical debris, like plastic bottles and this little thing that turtles get their heads stuck in, like the 6-pack things. There's not a lot of that out there. I think there's a little bit, but most of it is actually like broken down satellites that people have just shipped up there, and they were junk. Like they were not well produced, and they've broken down, and now they're stuck in orbit. So it's a lot of that's the majority of space trash is.
and like unused, like no longer functioning like satellites and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. Hopefully that will help you, Billybob.
All right, so now we're going to introduce our next guest host, Billybob, aka Big Willie, aka Back Tat Bill.
Let's go.
Weedin Boys from 303. We lived together for a whole calendar year, but we're good friends outside of living together. And Billybob, where are you joining this evening from?
Yo, I am joining from Charleston, South Carolina.
Ayo,
Charleston, South Carolina. We love that. So just right off the bat, Billybob, we asked that question to Christopher around like how long, what level of probability would you need to escape Earth? Wait, how did I ask that question? I got so confused.
If you had a chance to leave Earth, what is the lowest % success rate that you would still feel comfortable going on the mission for?
Oh yeah, because like it's gonna be like you're gonna live for 5 more years here on Earth. You know it; it's guaranteed. Like that's what the scientists have. They've run the equations.
Or you have like a 50% chance of survival, of making it.
And you can live out your life on this new planet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, are we allowed to ask
what
follow-up questions?
Sure.
What would be my death if I stayed on Earth? Like, am I gonna like?
You would die of starvation.
Suffocation. No breathing.
Suffocation, starvation, one of those.
Okay, so I can't like choose to die by like sharks or anything?
No.
Oh dang. Okay.
No, all the sharks are dead in this scenario.
Okay. Oh man. Oh gosh. Honestly, yeah, I think I would probably go too. I think back to like.
But what percentage would prevent you from going?
Oh man. I don't think there would be a percentage. I think I stand with Chris. 1%, man. I would go.
Wow. How about you, Chuck? What's your percentage?
How old am I?
Your current age. So let's just say like
current age
right now. Yeah.
Shoot, man. I don't know. Like maybe like I at least want like a 50-50 shot. So 50%.
Okay, 50%. All right.
Yeah, if it was lower than that, I'll just risk it for the biscuit here.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking around like 25 to 33% personally. Like if it was like that's pretty low, but I'd be like, yeah, it's worth it,
Yeah.
All right.
Are our wives on the flight with us?
Ooh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
What can I bring my cats?
You can take 1 human and 2 animals with you.
Oh, that's perfect. That's all I have.
That's perfect.
Yeah, that's
all I have is 1 human and 2 animals.
Well, actually, this is a more fun question. You can take 1 human and 1 animal. Which cat do you leave behind?
Holy smokes! I don't know. Let me think about it. I'll get back to me.
Okay.
Maybe I'll just buy a new cat and then
Yeah, you
that way
combine
I
them.
don't that way I don't have to pick a favorite.
You leave them both to die, and
Yeah, I'll bring
you
Big
just buy a
Lou
new
with me
one.
or
Like,
something.
you're coming with me. Oh, that's funny. Okay, Billybob, we have a question. We have two questions for you. Unless Chuck has some too.
Okay.
I have a hard hitting one, but Bill can go. You can ask first.
Okay, so my first question off the bat is, okay, so with what you know of the current climate of space trash, is we're able to fly out of Earth, but there's a lot up there. How do you think the problem of space trash will develop over the next 10 years? Like, what do you think space trash, like, what's that going to look like in 10 years?
Oh man, what a good question. Yeah, so I think there's going to be a lot of opportunists. Okay, so there's going to be people.
Do you know how much space junk there is right now?
I don't.
Sorry, Bill. The technical term is space trash, not space junk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So in Earth's orbit itself, this is according to Britannica.com. And they reference the U.S. Space Surveillance Network. And they are currently tracking more than 14,000 pieces of space junk that are larger than 10 centimeters, which is like 4 inches across. But it's estimated that there are millions of pieces smaller than that. Now, I know to someone who lives on the land, smaller than 4 pieces seems like that. What does that matter? Well, it matters because spaceship engines are very fragile. So if a little piece of space junk gets in there, it all adds up. That's like the pennies add up. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so now that you know that we're tracking over 14,000 pieces of space junk larger than 4 inches, but we suspect there's millions more smaller than that. All right, what do you think it's going to be like in 10 years?
In 10 years, man, I think it's going to block out the sun, dude.
Oh, really? We're going to be, we won't even be able to see the sun in 10
Unless
we're going to go from perfect vision in 10 years now. We cannot see the sun.
Holy smokes!
Unless
we need to.
Bad
We really need
fast
to.
over the next
We
10
really
years.
need to boost this podcast touch point if we can't see the sun in 10 years. Holy crap!
unless we start a small business or maybe a large where we get giant nets and we turn that space trash into space cash.
Oh,
Turn that space trash into space gas.
Nets.
Go, dude.
Oh, that's
The
a
Nets,
beautiful
baby.
line.
Okay.
That's gotta make it into the song. That's so good.
Just saying.
Dang.
That's hilarious, Billybob, because my follow-up question was, what should we do to fix it? But you've already answered that question.
Dude.
We got to get a big net.
I see a problem and I got to fix it. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Bill, recently, do you watch the news? Do you watch the news?
Not really. No.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
So recently, pretty hard hitting stuff is that there has been well, it's actually been identified now, but it was a UAP for a while, a balloon of sorts.
Oh yeah.
That was floating across the United States, and we came to fruition that it is actually China that is doing it. So that leads me to believe. Do you believe that some of this stuff that could be just out there, just looking like space trash, is actually a satellite by China spying on different portions of the world?
Dude, that is a hard-hitting question. I would not be surprised
China.
if it was China. Yeah. I think the biggest thing we got to worry about is if they build the quantum computer before we do. That's my 2 cents. But
because like Kang might come.
Kang could come, or we wouldn't have any secure IT systems. But either or,
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Where do you think that balloon is right now? Do you think it's space trash now, or do you think it's at somebody's like party or something?
Dude.
I think they popped the balloon. It's popped.
But did it fall to the Earth, or is it in outer space now?
Oh no, it fell to Earth. Yeah, they're gonna pick it up out of the ocean, I believe.
Oh dang. Okay.
Oh, nice.
So it's not space trash.
Well, no. But that's not to say that Chuck's theory of the space trash, that some of the space trash orbiting Earth is actually undercover satellites.
Dang, man. That is a theory, right?
Yeah. I mean, Chuck mentioned it, and I'm theorizing that it could be an issue.
So how worried are we?
It could be.
Well, Billybob, this has been just such a delightful time to have you guest host and be interviewed for the podcast here. I'm wondering, do you have any other final thoughts or any other ideas that you've presented so much? I mean, I think, some hard hitting stuff of, casting the net into into space to catch space trash, turn into space cash.
Yes, let's go.
That's a beautiful, not just idea, but line for the song. We will for sure see that there. And then, is there any other ideas that you have for the song?
Oh man. Probably something about save the turtles, because this sometimes trash ends up in the ocean, dude.
Yeah.
Space turtles. That's the second time that it's been brought up on the podcast. So turtles could be a thing.
Yeah.
Turtles. I think turtles. Yeah. I think that's because actually we do care a lot about saving the turtles, but we need to save, like, just on like an airplane when the oxygen mask, like, save yourself before you can save someone else. Like, we can't save the turtles if we don't save ourselves.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's a good point.
That is a good point.
I'm just gonna put you on the spot here, Billybob, but as three men of faith, something we do on the podcast, we always talk about faith, and we really can't save ourselves. That only God can save. Is that we need a savior, and that savior is Jesus Christ. And just wanted to ask Billybob, just kind of what's something that that God is doing in your life right now.
Man, so glad you asked that. I guess backing it up, just real short story. I felt like after graduating college, like, just my ministry kind of in some ways died off, and but in the last couple months I've just gotten just these crazy opportunities to minister to neighbors and people out on the beach, and just making these friendships and growing in hospitality. It's been pretty awesome in that way. So thankful for that. What the Lord's doing. Yeah.
That's dope, Billybob. Yeah. Chuck, do you have any other questions or thoughts to share with Billybob before he hops off?
Bill, it's true that you spent a summer in Austin, Texas, right?
Yeah. It was a great summer.
And remind me, who's the star of Interstellar? Who stars in that film?
Matthew McConaughey.
Oh yeah, that's what I thought. And is it true that he does or does not live in Austin, Texas?
Ooh, I think he does in the movie, right?
Well, I think he just lives there full time. I think that's his home.
Oh, okay.
So is it reasonable to say that you know Matthew McConaughey personally?
I think that would be. Oh wow. I guess it depends how you look at it, but I would say probably not.
Rip.
Not what I saw.
Bummer. Well, yeah. I'm a little disappointed now. I thought maybe you knew him personally, so that you might be able to get him on either the podcast tonight, or at least they're out advocating to purchase his own net, or to just bring more awareness to space trash, especially if we only have 10 years.
Yeah.
So if you can start pulling your connections from Austin and somehow get a hold of Matthew McConaughey, I think Mike and I and the world would really appreciate it.
Yeah.
True that. Double true. He probably has good insights. And thank you again, Billybob. We want to give you the platform. Anything else you want to share?
Man, yeah, I really feel strongly about turning that space trash into space cash, man. Whether that's crypto or whatever, we gotta just
Crypto.
turn,
I like it.
turn it into an opportunity, man. I don't see a problem.
What if we just
see our problem of space trash as an opportunity?
What if every piece or all of the metal that we collect with the nets, we then convert into a coin that people can buy?
Honestly, that's amazing.
And that is on a blockchain called something else. I don't know what the blockchain should be called, but
probably Space Cash.
Space Cash.
That's my idea, just off the bat. That's just
Space Cash on the trash blockchain.
Honestly, that's amazing. I back that.
Billybob, we appreciate you, and peace be with you, brother.
Hey, thanks for having me. Love you guys.
Love you too, man.
Love you too, bro. Later.
All right, just interrupting our regular scheduled programming here with a little ad. So if you didn't already know, Just Trying to Podcast, we do have a store, or really I have a store, and we sell Just Trying to Podcast. Jimmy Chuckles and the Fire Ants merch there. And it's getting built out day after day. There's more products to buy, like t-shirts, hats, coffee mugs, and everything.
Wait, you can buy a coffee mug?
You could buy a Jimmy Chuckles and the Fire Ants coffee mug or beanie currently. We'll have shirts like this. I have a black t-shirt on with a white Jimmy Chuckles and the Fire Ants ant on the left breast. This is what this t-shirt looks like. But you can buy all those shirts online. If you just go to at Just Trying to Podcast, the Instagram, you can go to the link in the bio, and that has the links to past episodes and also the merch store, and all profits that we make actually go right back into the podcast, so we can figure out better video, better lighting, better audio, pay some cool people to be on the podcast, to get some cool guests on here of what we're trying to do, and then you can actually just support the podcast directly. If you go onto Spotify, you can actually support us there. Again, everything that we get just goes right back into the podcast to make it bigger and better. So thank you for entertaining me there. Chuck, those were some pretty fun interviews that we got to do. Am I right?
They were great.
They were great. What were some of the key takeaways for you? Maybe concepts or lines even to introduce into the song?
Yeah, definitely turn that space trash into space cash. That's a good one. That'll preach. I think to save the turtles. Well, you actually brought in an interesting point that I was going to ask Chris, but we just filled it up with too much.
Okay.
Because Chris was just such a dynamic interviewee.
That's true.
But I don't remember how you tied it in, but you masterfully tied in something about how we can't save ourselves, only Jesus can save. And so then I was trying to think I was like, man, why is space trash such a big problem? Yeah. And then I was like, well, extraterrestrials that come here, maybe they won't actually be able to make it here because of space trash. They won't be able to make it into our atmosphere because it's just too dangerous. Yeah. And so then they'd never have a chance to encounter the risen king. And so I just think we owe it to them, that we owe it to the UAP flyers over here, the UAP. We owe it to them. Is salvation is in that. So if they never have a chance to hear it, I mean, I guess there's other ways that they can experience Jesus' saving grace. But I think ultimately the easiest way would be to communicate with somebody here. So we kind of owe it to them.
That is a incredibly interesting point.
It's definitely something.
Yeah, I don't even know if interesting is the right word. I think thought-provoking.
Yeah.
It's very thought-provoking. For one, would these extraterrestrials going around in UAPs, would they need salvation? Like, are they fallen like humanity? Because did you ever read C.S. Lewis's Space Trilogy?
I did.
I know we've talked about this. I can't remember if you've read it. Have you read it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like you remember no spoiler alerts, but there are alien races that are not fallen yet, right?
Yeah.
So, do you think if there are aliens, that there could be like they are a creation of God that we just don't know about for some reason? Do you believe that like they could be like non-fallen, so like they could still be in God's perfect design?
Yeah, that's a good question. I am not sure. That kind of like blows my mind.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that is possible. Now the real kicker is like, let's say they make it to Earth. Does that automatically make them fallen because they're on Earth now and they stepped on it? So maybe we actually owe it to them to create more space trash so they can't ever make it to Earth to fall.
So you just completely flipped your argument on.
So which one is it? Do we need to clear it up so they can receive Jesus, or do we need to create more so they never have a chance to fall?
And I can't wait till this gets out into the ether and we get some feedback and people let us know, should we fill space with more trash to save the aliens? We sacrifice ourselves to save which is a sacrificial spirit, you know?
Ooh.
We sacrifice ourselves to save the aliens, or do we save ourselves by clearing it up, but then we put aliens at risk of, if there are aliens, of entering into a fallen world idea? If you haven't ever read C.S. Lewis's Space Trilogy, can't highly recommend it enough. It's a phenomenal series.
Very good.
I feel like just for UAP, are probs real is what the audience is saying. So, but are the aliens fallen, or are they still in God's perfect design? That is what we need to know, audience. So let us know. And if you're listening to this afterwards, drop a comment and let us know. And thank you for watching this or listening to this, however you're engaging it. It's been an awesome time to go live for the first time on the Just Trying to Podcast, a special episode as we seek to educate the masses on this issue of space trash. If you haven't liked, subscribed, and marked the notification bell, go ahead and do that. Drop a comment of your ideas to incorporate into our song Space Trash, which should be coming out in the next 6 months or so.
I'd say so.
If you have a phenomenal comment, we may even send you a free Space Trash sticker. But Jimmy Chuckles and the Fire Ants and a Space Trash. So it's a special holographic sticker that you could get for free.
Hollow.
Hollow. Thank you so much for listening, though. Chuck, do you have any final thoughts as we're winding down the podcast?
Yeah, these coffee mugs. Is it a Jimmy Chuckles and the Fire Ants coffee mug or a Just Trying to Podcast coffee mug?
Both.
Both. Dang. Okay.
Or Jimmy Chuckles and the Fire Ants mugs.
Okay. How do I get one of those?
You can either go to my website, MikeTonyHeath.com, or go onto Instagram and go to the link in the bio on Just Trying to Podcast or my own, and it will take you to the link tree where you could find the link to the merch store. You can find it there. The audience is asking, they're dropping a live comment, can we get a mug autographed? You might have to wait though, because Chuck and I currently don't live in the same city, so we would have to like tag team that in some ways. But that would
we could definitely make it happen if somebody wanted it.
Yeah, but we can make it happen for you for sure. We can get autographed mugs out easily. Oh,
I don't know if I'd say easily, but we can definitely get them out.
Yeah, not easily, but we'll get it there. The audience is actually just wanting Lucy's signature, just one fire ant. They don't actually want ours.
That's also fair. That's fair. Yeah, I think we can make that happen. Lucy's got excellent penmanship.
Excellent penmanship. All right, that's awesome. Any other thoughts before we wind this down?
Oh man, no, I'm excited to film Space Trash sometime soon. Hopefully, Space Trash from the Space Needle.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Rip City, are they going to win tonight?
Of course. We're not going to lose another game. This entire city, the Portland Trailblazers. Mark it here, folks, on February 6th, 2023. At this point in the season, the Trailblazers will not lose another game until the playoff, where they will lose a collective 5 games before they win the NBA championship.
Okay, you heard it here, folks.
That's my prediction.
The hot take.
That's a hot take. Thank you so much for listening or watching episode 6 of Just Trying to Podcast. Thank you. Oh, yes. And if you're watching the video, you can see our matching tattoos of our fire ants. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Like and subscribe. And we will see you back next time for Just Trying to Podcast. And as always, remember, stay weird and stay funny.
Stay funny for the in-betweeners, baby.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Just Trying to Podcast. The music for this episode was produced by Child In Between, aka Nate the Great. You can check him out on Spotify. He's got a new single out now. Check him out. Show him some love. Thanks, Nate. And thank you to our special guest, Christopher Glotzback, Billybob, and my co-host, Chuck Wagon. See you guys next week for Just Trying to Podcast.
Great shot!